said you tried to bump into me earlier. You didn't say sorry. You tried to bump into me earlier on Chambers. You didn't say sorry. You still not saying sorry. Instead acting like you're smoking cigarettes. Somebody hired you to bother me. My friend Arugana was killed, so they were selling cigarettes. So that's not good. So what's not like that? So somebody's hiring people to people having cigarettes in their hand. A woman also, like 2 days ago, she had cigarette in her hand. She was rubbing her eye on the train. And somebody slammed me on the floor. As I was talking, I choked me like Arugana was choked. And they're hiring mostly blacks to do that. So it's like somebody feels if every Ghana killer, Pantelo white, could kill Arugana and not go to jail, can also harm me as a Nigerian and not get justice. So they're not even about justice, they're about just trying to equal the whites. So this Eric Adam and his crew, they've been trying to block me from getting justice. Even when the police stole all my ID, Eric Adams was congratulating them. He said so, and because they used to send the police to bother me in the bathroom, and I used to tell them, I said, you NYPD, you need to tolerate immigrants. I said in Ohio, a Nigerian like me became mayor around that 2019, and I said in Iowa they're giving undocumented immigrant driver's licenses. I said, you NYPD need to respect immigrants. They used to bother me in the train station, Quad Street. Eric Adam was the borough president. Across the street was his office. So when the police removed me from the bathroom, I used the women's bathroom. I was born a man, I'm not a woman. But I used to use the women's bathroom. So they were removed from the bathroom, and I went into Eric Adams, started from Eric Adams' office across the street from the train station. To be saying all this, as I'm start with them to leave the sidewalk. And so the police arrested me in another area in Brooklyn, stole my green card, stole all my IDs, and Eric Adams congratulated them. He went and did this. The police arrested me on July 20, 2019. And Eric Adams, like on January 20, 2021, or on January 20, 2020 rather, a few weeks later, he told them, he was congratulating them by making a statement to mock me. Say, you go back to Ohio, you go back to Iowa, all you outsiders are going to be welcome. New York is for real, New York is only. So we're not going to tolerate you. And it was inciting police to attack me while he was borough president. And since then he became mayor, the police came and attacked me, the bathroom choked me, and people have been attacking me. So it's like, it may, most possibly, and it's put all these orange wearing people to be calling the police to take homeless to the mental home and say, well, we need a psychiatric treatment. I was reading the newspaper, AM New York, yesterday, December 10, 2025. They said it's outreach team that's supposed to provide housing for homeless. They haven't put one single homeless in permanent housing in the last 1 year. And they're collecting money, and all they do is to call the police on you and lock you up. Like my mother's daughter's kid alone, locked her up in the mental home. So they wear orange uniform, they work with the police. I said they haven't, and the orange is the color of prisoners in America. When I was put in immigration prison, when my mother brought me to Nigeria, they said there was a problem with my visa, and they put me in immigration prison. I was wearing orange. So it's like they're just trying to taunt me, that will put you back in orange. They've killed my mother. Since I've been trying to get justice against the NYPD, the NYPD took my home. After I got bailed out of immigration prison, the NYPD took my home. Wrongfully, and Eric Garner was helping me with the court papers. That's when the police went and choked him. And since then, the black community here, the whole One March for Eric Garner, refused to help me so that I can testify in court. They've been blocking me. It's like they don't want me to get justice. They believe I could make a lot of money from the Eric Garner's case. And so some of them even came and threatened me. Anytime I'm on the church, say no justice, no peace. Our chapter used to say that. Al Sharpton is friends with Eric Garner family, his mother. Eric Adam is from Eric Garner family. When I'm on the train presenting the actual workers tell me no justice, no peace. Al Sharpton said it. And before I know it, some black American gang was following me around, remember, he would show me his penis and all that. Then one day I was eating in the restaurant in Fulton and Franklin, and it came and brought some black Americans along. So with these Africans, we're going to start killing them soon. So they're not going to get justice yet. So I was like, oh wow, this guy that always shows me his penis, I thought he liked me or something, always follows me around. You know. Then all of a sudden, you know, he started following me to Prospect Park, the train station I normally go to use the bathroom. Because every time the police attack me in one place for using the bathroom, you know, I'll find another place. I was just trying to avoid them, you know, and it's like they were hell-bent on making me defecate on myself, humiliating me, torturing me, on violating every international law, because they think an African immigrant who can kill this one like Diallo was killed. The police killed a West African immigrant called Diallo, and he didn't get justice. They shoot him here in New York with 40 bullets. He was just trying to shoot the police's ID. He was right in front of the police and they shooting for the bullets. They grabbed them, jumped in front of them, you know, arrested. They said they thought he had a gun. You know, so this police were on the hunt for me to provoke me and kill me like Diallo. Even some MTA worker told me, say, be careful. The police told everybody, including us, to be jumping you and lie about you and have the police come and kill you. So they want to kill like Diallo. And the FBI was listening because ever since I came into this country, they put me under FBI surveillance, and the FBI didn't help me. Then this Trump became president. He was inciting brutality against me, saying all these Africans, they're from shit-hole country. He wants to deport them fast. You know, Charles Schumer, a U.S. senator, said, you know, Trump called all the Congress people to a secret meeting. He's looking for a way to deport Africans fast. So this NYPD was aware that I have all the evidence that they killed Eric Garner wrongfully, and they said Trump was a billionaire that always supports the NYPD, and they also in return would help him cover up his crime. A white lady said Trump in the 1990s came and grabbed her from behind and was sexually molesting her while she was shopping at Bloomingdale. You know, and they said the NYPD didn't arrest Trump. You know, they said all kinds of stuff he does. The NYPD doesn't arrest him. So they have a quid pro quo. You know, so as soon, you know, they said anybody the NYPD hates, Trump will go against the person, also with his billions, and you know, and he also in return the NYPD will do him a favor, not to arrest him for his past crime. So this NYPD, they love having billionaire supporters in the private sector. And Trump was an entertainer. He said he hosted Michael Jackson to his when Michael Jackson married Elvis Presley's daughter. He went and did the honeymoon in the Dominican Republic and came to America and stayed in Trump's hotel, you know, for free because Trump knows them, you know. So Trump also was an actor on Home Alone. So he has some credibility, you know, that, you know, he's an entertainer, and, you know, so the police, I guess, felt they could benefit from his clout anytime they need to do damage control. In case when they kill a black American or whatever, they do something wrong, this Trump could help them do damage control. So in 2010, the police removed my mother from my home wrongfully, and me and my mother sued the police afterwards, called 311. Even my mother appeared on TV calling the NYPD terrorists. So, you know, so apparently the NYPD found out that my mother is a foreigner but had a U.S. passport, was calling, naturalized citizen rather, was calling NYPD terrorists. So I guess from there, it was, you know, they were using the FBI to track me and my mother, you know, because I was under FBI surveillance since I had my immigration case for 8 years, 2000, 2008. If they eventually gave me my 2 green cards mistakenly, they're only supposed to give you one. My mother kept one for me, I kept one for myself. And my mother's daughter was killed in 2015, I stole one of the green cards. And the police arrested me in 2019, stole the other green cards. So I don't have any green card presently on me to prove my status. So but back to 2010, after the police kicked my mother out of our home on Staten Island, you know, so wrongfully. So I became homeless. So I used to go to Trump's Hotel in 2011 to gamble. And all of a sudden, they called the police. I'm in Trump's Hotel. It's called Taj Mahal. And, kicked me out of the hotel. Didn't give me my lottery winnings, my gambling winnings. And I was in shock. I was like, why are these people, stalking me, using their police to harass me everywhere from New York to New Jersey? So I recorded the incident as they were kicking me out of his hotel in 2011. I recorded the incident with my phone. With my recorder, I had a recorder. And I said, I'm going to sue Trump at the hotel for discrimination. So I guess the FBI told them that this person is planning to sue NYPD, is planning to sue you. So they quickly sued the hotel. And Eric Garner said he was going to help me with the court papers. The police went and beat Eric Garner there in 2014. Then soon after that, Trump, after I told them, so I guess they were watching me through the FBI surveillance on me. They were able to listen to my voice. I also hear they have satellite cameras that they used to watch immigrants. Like this kind of satellite camera they were able to use to locate Osama bin Laden, that he was hiding in the Pakistani jungle. So they were watching him from space with a camera. And so they sent the snipers to go and kill him. Obama said they could have arrested him, but he just wanted to kill him. Which violates international law. You don't kill somebody. A civilian, you can just arrest them. So after they killed Eric Garner in 2014, I had all the evidence against the NYPD. So I was angry in my head. Somebody told me that I should go and stand in front of Trump's house, Fifth Avenue, saying they have Christmas presents. They're going to give homeless. So I went there with all my bags like this. I was pushing. And when I got in front of his house within 5 minutes, he came in his car and tried to hit me with his car. People were screaming, that's Trump in his car trying to hit you. Because I didn't really know him physically, but I know his name, I know he owns hotels. I was mistreated in his hotel. But I didn't know him physically that well. I never used to watch his show, The Apprentice. But I would see the promos. I saw him in the backseat of the car. I knew that, okay, this is the guy from The Apprentice. I saw him. And the door to his mansion open and went in. Then he gave a cryptic message after that, mocking me. They say he always likes to talk in code. He'll call people short hands, Rubio. He mocks people. He likes to do things to mock people. They say he loves berating people. Even this Oma, he says she'll marry her father to get her brother to get U.S. citizenship. He's going to deport her. So he loves to embarrass people. So I guess him trying to hit me with a car. They say he doesn't like homeless people also. One person was doing like this, So they always threaten me with punches, say I'm going to be killed soon. So the FBI is sponsoring people to my father died of stroke. My mother also has a heart issue. So they always say Black Americans will do like this to me, so that they punch me, hit me, and they were bothering me and send these Black Americans to beat me up regularly. They sent a bunch of Black American girls, and they were kicking me for no reason as I was trying to connect my phone, because they don't want me to have a cell phone, because my mother's daughters are part of a gang, a narcotic gang. They were born in America, so they joined a narcotic gang, Bolani and Flora, that kill people for money. So in 2015, my mother was telling me our gang, our daughter were abusing her. Since we didn't have a place to stay, my mother went to stay with her daughters. They lured her, actually, because my mother was staying in the shelter. And after Eric Garner was killed, my mother marched Eric Garner. And they said they kicked my mother out of the shelter. She was staying in the shelter close to where Eric Garner was killed. So my mother knows Eric Garner. I know him also. So my mother marched for him. And they said the police was going after everybody that marched for Eric Garner, punishing them. So they looked at my mother in the shelter. And my mother said one day, her daughters won't even be involved, because she told me her shelter was like saying they're searching for those that have high blood pressure. And my mother has high blood pressure, And so my mother was wondering, how does the shelter know that she has high blood pressure? And they told her, those that have high blood pressure have to leave the shelter and can no longer stay in the shelter, and so they're going to test everybody's high blood pressure to kick those with high blood pressure out. And they kicked my mother out because they searched her blood pressure and found she has high blood pressure. So my mother was calling her daughters, crying that she's now homeless on the street. They throw her out for having high blood pressure. That she doesn't understand what kind of country is this. That you say, they don't want you to die in the shelter. So if you have high blood pressure, you should go to the hospital and get the hospital to house you in the hospital bed. That's your home. And that sounds like when me and my mother was in the government shelter, the shelter was telling me and my mother that because my mother has a heart problem, and the shelter was like, she needs to go and be staying in a hospital bed. Because me and my mother told the shelter that my mother has a heart problem, so we want better shelter facility, because they put us on the fourth floor with no elevator. So my mother said it's very hard for her to be climbing up and down the staircase, that she has a heart problem. She showed them the medical paper. And the black American workers in the shelter was like, they call it HPD shelter, 800 East 12th Street, Brooklyn, New York. They call it Brooklyn Hotel, but there's nothing hotel about that place. It was just like a rooming house, and a shelter, So when me and my mother told her, I'm sorry, I'm having pneumonia. They're supposed to be the cold. So when me and my mother told the shelter that, we need a better housing, because there's a court order that those removed from basement apartment like me and my mother should be put in a hotel room, and should be given, and especially if they're family, they're supposed to be put in a place that has kitchen and bath, and they didn't put us in a place with kitchen and bath. We had to be sharing the toilet, and people will harass us, making my mother panic. She has a high blood pressure already, and also she couldn't cook food anymore. And for heart health and high blood pressure, she's practicing alternative therapy. So she eats a lot of garlic, she lowers her salt content, and now she has to be eating in restaurants, and they put in a lot of salt in her food. So she was telling the shelter that, look, she needs a shelter that would accommodate her disability needs and stuff. And there's a court order that people removed from basement apartment by the police are considered special. What do they call them? They have special status, so we're not just a regular homeless. The government has to put us in a special hotel, prioritize us for housing immediately. And the shelter was like, no. If your mother is saying she has a high blood pressure and she needs a kitchen, she needs to go to the hospital. The hospital will find her a place with a kitchen. And my mother was like, you don't force her to go live in a hospital bed. She needs to go and admit herself in the hospital bed, and tell them she doesn't have a place to stay anymore. And the hospital will find her a place. So she should just go to an emergency room. And my mother said, no, that's not what the law says. The law says the city of New York, after they remove you from a basement apartment, have to find you housing and put you in a hotel room. They said, no, we're not going to do that. So I told my mother's daughter to tell her daughters in Pittsburgh to call the shelter. I was like, she was like, no, she doesn't want to tell her daughters about what is going on in her personal life. She was like, those daughters are talking to people in Nigeria that wanted to kill me and my mother, people in my father's family. Me and my mother testified about it in my asylum hearing in 2001 rather, at Federal Plaza in Manhattan here. Myself, a few blocks from here, Federal Plaza. So on the whole, so my mother said our daughters were talking to those people in Nigeria, sending gifts to them through the USPS, and I guess our daughters will be using the credit card when they send the gift to those people in Nigeria. So the credit card record will show, somebody was sending packages to Nigeria. It's an exact address where my father relatives, which is my stepmother and her children. So my stepmother was trying to kill me and my mother. Use a metal object to hit my mother in the mouth, and my mother's teeth fell out, and my mother was bloody. And the police wouldn't help my mother. They said the police can't intervene in domestic violence, because the Nigerian constitution said marriage is sacred, and the police can't just go into a marriage unless a death occurs. So a lot of spouses beat up their wives, a lot of parents beat up their children, so it's under Nigerian culture. the marriage is sacred, and you involve the police in something, it discredits the marriage. So they said the family members have to resolve it. So a lot of deaths happen due to all this, refusal to modernize the Nigerian criminal justice system. So my mother brought me here, and she had a green card. She brought me here because it wasn't safe for me in Nigeria. My father was beating me up, and I was arrested at JFK. They told me, children are not allowed here either with their green card holders, parents, and my mother. So I was like, oh my goodness, can I get a break? And even though there's an emergency visa they're supposed to give children of permanent resident to stay here with their parents, in case they need to be here due to emergency reason. And they didn't give me the emergency visa. They told me, and they put me in prison. And, and the case lasted 8 years. I put me under FBI surveillance. I got bailed out of immigration prison. Yeah, and I was living with my mother in the basement apartment, and the police came and removed us. And we were in a government shelter, and we needed the shelter to put us in a place that would accommodate my mother's medical needs, like a place that has a kitchen so she can be cooking. And the government shelter was like, no, we're not going to help you. The Black American workers so your mother needs to deport herself into the hospital bed. And said the hospital would then find her a place to stay. My mother was like, you don't force somebody to go and admit themselves in a hospital bed. People with disability have a right to live productive lives and not just go and be sleeping in the hospital bed. So that's what people do sometimes. So if they're poor and don't have money, they just go sleep on the hospital bed. And if the hospital wants to get rid of them, sometimes you just bribe them and putting them anywhere, nursing or whatever. And I heard about cases like that, people that don't have status. If they have any ailment, they just admit themselves to the hospital, and sometimes the hospital try to get rid of them. And sometimes even deport them, find family members. I will even pay for them to be deported and go and be receiving treatment outside of America. So they were just trying to get my mother to deport herself out of America, even though she has a US passport. So I told my mother to tell her daughters to call this shelter and see if they can let reason prevail. So my mother was like, no, she doesn't want to tell her daughters anything because her daughters are talking killers in Nigeria, my father's family, and so they just try to mess up the matter because my father has lawyers in his own family, and they would just think, well, this is a good opportunity to harass this woman to death. And she was like, they even bribed the shelter to torture my mother some more because my father's family don't like my mother. I said, I always talking to my father's family and my father and laughing on the phone. She always wonders what they're talking about. And my mother says she's afraid of the daughters because my father's family don't like my mother. And she was like, she doesn't want them to teach the daughters how to kill her. Because they hired a woman to kill my mother, and the woman became my father's wife. I was in the house when my mother arrived from America and beat up my mother, injured her with a metal pipe, busted her teeth open, and the president just said, sorry, we can't really do nothing unless a death occurs, And I just was talking with a woman laughing on the phone. Said something's wrong with the daughters. They have a violent history regardless since they were a child. There was a time they beat up people here in the United States and they had to put them in juvenile prison. So it's just a whole lot of misdeed and abuse against me as an immigrant. I just wouldn't stop. Now Trump is involved. A whole lot of their street gangs are involved, and they believe we can just abuse this African dead. Who's going to stop the United States? And it's mainly due to xenophobic reasons. So don't let me use the bathroom and make me push my bag all day, all my tires falling out. And I'm dragging my bag around, and I'm so tired. I've been trying to use the bathroom now since 2 p.m. yesterday. It's now 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And they said somebody died in China like this, couldn't use the bathroom early, and died in his sleep. So I've been exhausted, tired from dragging on my back around, and I finally got the strength to use the bathroom, and this guy was already waiting for me. And sometimes they hire people to try to burn me with cigarettes. Since Arugana died, people have been burning with cigarettes. I don't know if these people have been sponsored by the Arugana family and our captain, but they will then bring people on the train workers, tell me no justice, no peace, no justice. So they said this Arugana is a prominent member of the police force. He himself, as a kid, he was working as a pimp, hired as a 12-year-old. He was selling black American women to people that would pay him money and would beat up this woman. So he went to prison for that, for beating a prostitute. They refused to pay him after he gets them a customer. At 12 years old, he said the police beat him. I'm drinking my juice. I feel so fatigued from dragging all my bags around. And this Eric Adam and his cohorts, they're blocking me and stuff. So they said this Eric Adam is a notorious, he's with the street gangs, he's also with the NYPD. So he went to prison, that's what they beat him up. He was vomiting blood. And then he joined the police force after that, after he came out of prison. And now he's controlling the brutality. His friend Eric Adam was trying to help me, and his friend got killed. And he doesn't want me to be alive and get justice. Since he became mayor, they've been harassing like crazy. Sometimes, as soon as I get here, the black American police will surround me. Say, get out of here. I was just trying to beat me up. And I always use the elevator over here. And, that's why I get off out of the front. Because if I get off out of the back, sometimes they surround me with the police and tell me to take the nearest exit out. Like I smell like a monkey. They treat me like a monkey. They said this was what the whites used to treat the black American ancestors when they were slaves. So that was when they arrived on the train, and some black American police surrounded me. I was telling them, I'm headed for the elevator. I said, no, you're not going to the elevator. Get out, take the staircase. And it was fine, so I would fuck you up. So apparently this American hired this black American police to kill me like Diallo and claim it's an accident. Claim I was just a crazy person from Nigeria. And they started pushing this free orange uniform, many black Americans. So they should be calling the police. I'm homeless, claiming we are crazy, we're a danger to ourselves. It's just so much abuse. Different races of people joining in. So xenophobically attack me as a Nigerian. So back to Trump hitting me with his car after he got died. And I guess he saw I was going to be a witness against the police. So in 2014, so he lured me to come in front of his house. They sent somebody, an emissary has to come in front of Trump's house on Fifth Avenue. They're going to give Christmas presents to homeless. So I went there, and as I was standing in front of his house, 5 minutes later, Trump appeared with his car and tried to run me over. And everybody recognized him. I was screaming that's Trump trying to hit you with his car. He came in his SUV, like this. And the gate was nice and open, and I saw him. Even though I'm Nigerian, I didn't really know him. But they do a lot of promo for his apprentice show. So from there, I was able to see that was really him. And then he issued a cryptic message. Some days later, said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. I didn't understand what that message meant, because I didn't know my father was in Nigeria getting shot with injections because he had a back problem. So apparently the FBI spotted that my father is in Nigeria and he's a soft target in the hospital. He goes to a hospital. So the CIA has already spotted, they said the law enforcement community in America fights rough. So me and my mother was trying to sue the NYPD. And The NYPD went and located all the vulnerable members of my family, like my father, and said, people they could hit. And apparently Trump was aware. They said the friends with the NYPD, they do a cute pro together. So as soon as Trump tried to run me over with his car in 2014, he issued a cryptic message only the law enforcement community that was a member of his gang would understand it. And every member of the public didn't understand it. He said, he could shoot somebody from Fifth Avenue and still win the election and get away with it. And I'm going to show you something. As I was reading the paper yesterday, they drove me out of the train. I was reading something that was so... I can't find it anymore. Okay, but apparently what it... Oh yeah. 2016, U.S. intelligence concluded that Russia had interfered in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, according to multiple reports. Even the U.S. Intelligence Committee under Obama felt Russia was helping Trump. And Trump issued a cryptic message in 2014 after trying to run me over. He said he could kill somebody on Fifth Avenue and still win the election. So it's guaranteed for him to win. So apparently, and I heard from other sources that the Russians have spies in the NYPD, and the Russians hate Obama, and Trump was a thorn in Obama's flesh. And the spies in the NYPD, the Russian assets in the NYPD, were the ones that convinced Trump. Say, run for president, we will help you win. We'll mess with the computer. And it's as soon as Trump started communicating with Russia on the computer, and Obama sent his FBI to investigate him. But I said Trump has a lot of friends in FBI also. So they gave him a heads up and quickly deleted the phone records and his computer records. Even the prosecutor, the special prosecutor assigned to investigate Trump, said, Trump was obstructing justice. They had to impeach him through Congress. He was already president. And Trump was the only president in America that was so sure was going to win the 2014 election. And he said, at this point, it's going to win. And I said, his election is guaranteed. So he could even shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and his election is guaranteed. And now that cryptic message, he didn't shoot me, trying to run me over. Then when he became president in 2017, and I was getting harassed like crazy, they said he called some U.S. senators and told them to come for a secret meeting in the White House, and he was telling them we need to get rid of these Africans. These Africans, they're bothering him. And the people were like, what is he talking about? Why is the Africans bothering you? He said, we just need to get rid of them. They're from Shido country, they shouldn't be here. So he wants a faster method. He wants them to create a special law. Charles Schumer, a U.S. congressman from New York, said, he called him and some other people to the office and was calling African country Shido country, which makes sense because I was using the bathroom in his hotel in 2011. As soon as I came out of the bathroom, I went to the casino where I normally gamble and win money, and the police around me told me to leave. At that time, me and my mother was trying to sue the police. So I guess the police had already, through the FBI surveillance, located me in Trump's hotel called Taj Mahal. And Trump assisted them because he has a special quid pro quo with the police. He scratched their back, he scratched his back, and so I recorded the whole incident. I said I was going to sue Trump. He immediately sold the hotel in 2011, declared bankruptcy, deleted all the camera records that would show I was there, but the FBI has my own recording surveillance because I'm on all kinds of tapping. Since my immigration in 2000. So, and by 2019, all of a sudden, after Trump said he's trying to get rid of people from Africa, all of a sudden, as I'm begging for, and I used to talk about him on the train, all of a sudden, as I'm talking on the all of a sudden, as soon as I was begging for money in Brooklyn, Sunset Park, this woman came there. She sounded like she was Polish. Trump's wife is Polish. And she was like, stop being a bum in America. Say you have a house, go back to your house. You're not homeless. Stop trying to be homeless. So I was like, why is this woman talking so creepy? I said, I'm homeless in New York. She said, no, you have a house, go back to your house. you know. So I was like, so I wanted to turn my phone on to record it. It was 53rd Avenue, 53rd Street and 4th Avenue by the outlet. And she quickly ran away. But I think I recorded her backside as she was going. I said, this woman just came to bother me, tell me she has a Polish accent. Sounds like Trump's wife, but she's not Trump's wife. I said, I don't know why they're scaring me. Tell me I should go back to my house. I have a house somewhere, you know, and so I said, that just sounds creepy. And apparently, you know, that was just a prenuptial or whatever, a preemptive move, cause soon after I found out my father is dead in Nigeria. They said he went to get his regular injection in the hospital for his back pain, and they said the doctor shot him with a bad injection. It was shot with a bad injection, and it went into paralysis, stroke, and somebody said they were, talking to him through the video chat, which is Flora. She said she was talking to my father, my mother's daughter as well. Talking to my father in Nigeria on my video chat. I saw him. It was like, just, it was paralyzed. See, from the injection, couldn't talk, and it was just quiet, just watching the video. I said soon died afterwards. So apparently, this Trump was trying to get rid of me, like he told Schumer he wants to get rid of Africans, and the only way he could get rid of me is to kill my father, to lure me to go and bury him, because a Nigerian pastor had prayed a prayer. My mother used to go to that church. I used to go to that church when we were in Nigeria, synagogue church. His name is Joshua. That, if somebody dies, he prayed a prayer on YouTube. If you pray that prayer, the person will rise up and walk again. And so I tried to pray that prayer on YouTube when my mother's brothers killed her in New York. Framed mental illness on my mother. She was getting treated for heart disease in 2015, Beverly Hospital, and so they told the hospital to move. My mother's brothers told the hospital to disconnect my mother from the life support machine in the ICU that she was using to breathe, and go and lock her up in the mental ward. Misled the hospital, and I don't know why the hospital obliged them, and they disconnected my mother from life support and moved her into the psych ward. As we were moving, and they said my mother died, and she couldn't breathe, And the donor Bolale said that my mother didn't even die immediately. My mother was still trying to open her eye, but the doctors came and put a sheet over my mother's head and whisked her away to the mortuary. She said she didn't say anything because she was so confused. So I don't know if this Bolale is telling the truth or not, or she's just trying to, because my mother said that Bolale was trying to kill her and get money, inheritance kind of money. So as she admitted this to me, and my phone has been tapped, but I don't know if she's making it up so as to be able, because I was trying to sue the hospital, and she was trying to give me more reason to sue them so that she can get a cut of the money as my mother's child also. But she would be telling the truth, because my mother said she was acting weird before she killed her. Was trying to kill my mother, was poisoning my mother with cancer, fish poison. So at that time, I told the hospital I wanted an autopsy. They said this volunteer said no, they shouldn't do an autopsy for my mother. So she was apparently trying to cover up something. And then the hospital never let me pray on my mother. Said they don't allow prayers in America. Like somebody told them to not let me pray on my mother. And I told her, apparently, look, I'm trying to pray on my mother, and she quickly went and grabbed my mother's corpse. I said, a pastor in Nigeria said, if you pray, the dead person will rise up. I said, my mother also believes in that pastor's prayers. And as soon as I told her that, she went behind my back and quickly went and grabbed my mother's body and buried her immediately in New Jersey, a place I won't be able to get to, and they did it behind my back. So apparently they wanted my mother dead. So I never got to pray the resurrection prayer to raise up my mother. I guess this is what motivated this Trump, to see if that resurrection prayer would work. So he decided to kill my father like an animal experiment, and it was like, this is one stone I can kill two birds. And it was, I guess it's working with a team of U.S. intelligence sources, so they're coming up with all this plan for him. That if you're trying to get rid of this person, we can kill the father, and this person will most likely try to go to Nigeria to try to resurrect the father, And then, because my green card has expired then, it was 2019. My green card expired in 2018. I got it in 2008, and it only lasts for 10 years. You know, it only lasts for 10 years. So, so it only lasts for 10 years. So by 2019, it has already expired. So they wanted me to go to Nigeria with an expired green card. And when I tried to renew it, and if I go to Nigeria with an expired green card, pray the resurrection prayer on my father, then they can then tell the American embassy to not let me come back here. So they always try to perform straight sex in front of me. This is sexual harassment. I was born a male, but now I'm a woman, and all day long, anywhere I'm at, to be having men and women having sex in front of me. On the train also last night, this Amazon worker, Spanish woman, was having sex with a performing a sexual act. As I was sleeping on the train, I woke up and I saw the two of them in a packed train. They even send younger looking people also, like people like 20-year-olds and stuff. A couple of days ago, it was a mulatto black American male and a white female, and they were performing sexual acts in front of me. So they were trying to lure me to straight sex, and so I believe my mother said Adora is part of a gang, and I believe this gang, and also they said this black American rapper Jim Jones. There was a time I started following him on Instagram, because there will be some of their celebrities will be hinting about me in their speech. So I would then follow them to find out what it's about. They're about. Yeah, and so and I'm homeless on the street like this for 15 years. So I would send a message on Instagram like, please, if you can help me, because I don't really know what is going on, And then they wouldn't help me online, but it was appeared to me in person. I guess they have access to my AVS surveillance. So it's like they're trying to kidnap me, and without a trace, because if they respond to me online and I disappear after they tell me to come and meet them, then people can say, okay, this person, the last person this person communicated with is you, and since this person has disappeared from the internet, whatever, so I guess, so and this Jim Jones also, I sent him a message online, and he didn't respond to me. Then soon I started seeing him in my end by Chambers Street, by Chambers Street and stuff, and I begged for money, but when I begged them for money, they didn't answer me, just walk by, So I guess they're just trying to lure me to keep sending them messages, and talking about me on his innuendos, just to keep me interested enough. And it seems they're just trying to build a record trail to show like I'm the one stalking them, and if I disappear one day, they can then use as a defense that, look, they said they killed an African like that, and it was working for a garbage moving company, and one day his family said he went to work and didn't come back, and they found his body dead on the street, run over by car or a truck. So his family told the police to contact his employer, and then the employer said, his co-worker said, they don't even know him, but it was just a crazy African that always stalks them every night, follows them around, and they mistakenly hit them in the car, and they panicked and drove off. And his family said, it's not a crazy African, he wasn't stalking, it was their co-worker. So apparently, around that time also, they said some black Americans will lure. There was a gay guy last year visiting New York for a job seminar, and he said a black American lured him into forced romance, in the club. So this gay white guy told the black Americans to follow him home. And on the way there, this black American gave the gay white guy fentanyl, a smoke laced with fentanyl, and the gay white guy, you know, and the gay white guy ended up dying from the fentanyl, and the black American guy stole his credit cards and went shopping. And they prosecuted the black American guy. I think they found him guilty, you know. So since then, people have been trying to lure me with false romance like that. Then I find out that, I used to sit in front of the Target store on Murray Street and Greenwich, and then this white guy, it was like he had dreadlocks. I would be begging for money, and he would also come and beg for money near me. So I was like, why is this white guy stalking me? Then one day I found out while he was sleeping at night, somebody came and choked him dead. You know, I'm like, is his death for real? And like somebody's trying to send a message to me to just scare me out of America. I don't know, because they say some of the FBI can plant, fake messages, also, you know. So this is what is going on. I'm experiencing all kinds of stuff like this. So I don't know. If some of it is being concocted by the FBI just to scare out of America, and all of a sudden there'll be all kinds of weird killing like that. People bringing guns to New York and shooting other people, and I always sleep on the street. So it's like they're still trying to help this Trump to scare me, to make me leave America. And this Trump said, he wants immigrants deported. And there was also this case in the newspaper. They said an immigrant went for his green card interview. A gay immigrant went for his green card interview, and they arrested him because he had a deportation order. I had a deportation order also when I went for my green card interview, but they gave me the green card, so I don't know why. This guy said it felt like an ambush. They said they scheduled the hearing for September 8th or whatever. I was born on July 8th. Oh, it was November 14th. Oh, the 8th floor. The interview was on the 8th floor. So they scheduled the interview for the 8th floor. So I was born on July 8th, and they'll be, deal with the, sending cues like that to like scare me and make me flee America, or maybe go to another country, because it's much easier to go to Canada from America. So they'll be sending cues like that, I'm not safe in America, I could be deported at any time, and people trying to punch me, So, and there's all these sex trafficking gangs also that are so encouraged that may be killed in America or deported, and I guess they want to create a chart for me. They say if one parent is deported, the other parent is here in America, then any lawsuit money, they can get it on behalf of the child and be getting child support, and even order me killed in whatever country I'm in abroad. So I guess this is motivating my mother's daughter's gang. I don't know if this Jim Jones, a black American rapper, because that Jim Jones, the name I think comes from a pastor here in America that believes God spoke to him and he's going to go to heaven, and he killed all his church members. So I don't know if it's the FBI that hired this black American rapper as their undercover agent, to be taunting me, but it's getting really weird that they're trying to get me to have a heart attack or something. Because there was a time he did a music saying we're too large for them, so they can't handle us, so we send our women, we set them up with our women. So they had used a guy to rape me in 2020. And this guy told me he works for the police also. So in 2020, they've been doing everything possible, breaking every law in the world to torture me, torture my friend Ghana to death, choke him dead, and they began their way with it. So in 2020, COVID broke, so they lock up all the bathrooms in the train station. I'm having pneumonia right now because not even when I find a bathroom to use, turn off the hot water. So I wash my hands with cold water. So it's giving me pneumonia. I'm coughing. So that's people run away from when they hear me coughing and stuff. It's like they want to use me to infect the whole city and the whole world with pneumonia. They said pneumonia kills a lot of homeless. So that's why I wear extra clothing and stuff. And they're planting the police to also frame me up as crazy. So that, so that they said this is the best way to get away with any abuse. They said this police always does that. When they abuse a victim, then they will arrest that person as a psychiatric ill person. So the courts won't believe the person. In the future, when the person claimed the victim, they'll claim no, the person wasn't the victim, it was just crazy. And whatever we perform on the person, it was just to control the person. So they're having the police around me anywhere I'm at, trying to frame up as crazy. I think that's them again. Trying to frame up as crazy anywhere I go. It's just so much. So this rapper, Black American rapper, Jim Jones, before I started seeing him, I used to send him messages online. So can you please help me with money? Because in 2020, I was homeless like this and the COVID broke and they lock up all the bathrooms in the train station without giving a prior notice. So I was trying to use the bathroom and I would go to every station, the bathroom is closed. Like 500 stations, the bathroom was closed. I was going to numerous stations, not up to 500 that day, but a few stations I went to. So I was telling people, please, I'm trapped. I'm from Nigeria, I'm homeless. I don't have an ID. If anybody can let me use the bathroom in their house. And they were people were like, go to the shelters. Like, I've been in a shelter before and they treated me bad. I said, and also all my ID has been stolen. I don't even know if I'm qualified to enter the shelter with no ID. So some hours later, a guy came and told me I could come to his house to use the bathroom in the Bronx. So when we got there, told me we have to get married right away. I was like, this is a false pretext. Why would you tell me, I could come use the bathroom in your house? You didn't tell me anything about marriage, and stuff, or romance and stuff. I said, why are you luring me with use of bathroom and trying to make me repay you with sex and marriage? I said, look, I told you I'm willing to give you money to use your bathroom. I'm not looking for marriage. I said, he ended up holding me hostage, telling me if I flee, he's going to get the police to kill me. He said he works for the police. And he was raping me, beating me up. So I finally called 911 and they came and saw me. The police came with wound in my face from me punching me. And the person said, get out of here. I said, I need the police report. He was like, sure. I said, can you arrest him? They're like, no. I said, you will sue him in civil court, small claims court. And he has already threatened that once I leave his house, the police will kill me on the street, so I won't even make it to court. So now the police try to kill me on the street. After that, also, so I used to beg for money in that Target store. And as soon as I started giving me a lot of money, people that come to shop in Target store around 2021, 22, on Greenwich and what's Africa? Greenwich and Murray. So I noticed this white guy was dreadlocked, was show up, also start begging for money in the same place I'm at. Like he was trolling me. Then all of a sudden they removed the chair I normally sit on, they put bicycles in that place. Then all of a sudden I heard the white guy that used to troll me in that area. While he was sleeping at night, I sleep around that area also. So somebody came and choked him dead. And then this Black American rapper Jim Jones started, seems he was hinting at me or something. So I sent him a message like, if you can borrow me money or stuff. He didn't answer me. Then, all of a sudden I started seeing him on the street, on Chambers Street. I was like, can you please help me with money? So he would ignore me. And all of a sudden he started rapping that they can't handle us, so we send women after them. They can't handle us because we're too large. And the guy that raped in 2020, he had a very big his private part. So it was the rape really took a toll on me. So I'm like, why would this Jim Jones know about everything I'm going through? Really, and rape is not glorified. I don't know if it's an FBI undercover agent, and the extent they can use to abuse somebody legally, but rape, come on. So the guy raped me in the Bronx, and then this Jim just started rapping about it, that they can't handle us, we're too large, so we set our women on them. And one day I was sitting around that Greenwich Street by Chambers Street, and I was sleeping, and this white woman woke me up, touched me. I don't really like people touching me; it startles me and stuff. And she used and removed that coat and used it to cover me. And was trying to invite me to her house late at night, like 1 a.m. I'm like, I don't want to be set up. I'm gay. I was born a man. I'm not a woman. Like, why would I follow you to your house in the dark at 1 a.m.? And soon after that, this guy came at me also in 42nd Street. Said, was telling me, I was writing something on a sheet of paper that would I like to follow him somewhere. I was like, what are you talking about? I said, why are you not talking? And he put it on a sheet of paper. He's deaf and dumb. So he started quietly follow me somewhere. I want to take you somewhere. I said, So they've been trying to kidnap me and I guess rape me and kill me and then make a move for any inheritance I may have or any lawsuit money I may potentially earn from the immigration that arrested me when my mother brought me here wrongfully. And when immigration arrested me wrongfully when my mother brought me as a child, even though the law says if you give a special visa to a child, if the mother has a green card and the child is here on an emergency, and I was here because I wasn't safe in Nigeria, and it didn't give me the special visa called humanitarian parole visa, So please donate to my Cash App NYC Homeless. I need to use the bathroom. It's just so much going on. So apparently, it's even the U.S. intelligence believe the Russians helped Trump to win. And even Trump, seemed to hint at it in 2014, said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and still win the election. In 2000, and he wasn't even leading the polls then. And since he won the election, he's been, all kinds of means to get me out of America. And I believe through dubious means. And the latest threat I've been getting is they're going to leave me comatose and deport me comatose. They've been sending people to punch me, and harass me. The police choked me in the bathroom, So in November 14, 2025, I made up a lie. And people have been hinting that, when I'm using the bathroom, the police will attack me again and claim I'm using drugs and kill me in the bathroom or taser me dead. They've already tried that in the past. When I'm using the bathroom, they'll bring the police and claim I'm using drugs and I'll do a record. I'm like, there's no drugs here. I went to the Penn Station bathroom also and the black American janitor said she was smelling drugs. I called the police and everybody in the bathroom said they didn't smell no drugs. Apparently they were just lying. Another time I went to the Penn Station bathroom and they claimed my bag was smelling and my bag wasn't smelling. And they called the police to remove me. So they're using all kind of provocation method. They say under the Alien Enemies Act that this Trump is invoking, they're trying to test and see that maybe they can just kill somebody and claim the person is always talking bad about Trump. And they felt, the person was a threat and use that to help Trump escape, the allegations against them that I may be able to corroborate that, he tried to hit me with a car in 2014 and then posted he's guaranteed to win the election. And he did win the election. How do you know that? So please, I'm not looking for marriage. I swear under oath, under the United States perjury laws, that I'm not looking for marriage. I'm not looking for surrogacy. I'm just looking for donations to help myself get a hotel room. So please, any money donated to my Cash App, NYC Homeless, or to me personally, I do that for money all over, or anywhere you find me to donate money. That money, I swear on that oath, is just for me and not for surrogacy. I swear under the oath of the United States Constitution and prejudice. Thank you. My Cash App was against NYC Homeless.